Hello everyone and welcome to the next mission from Go for Launch. It's a cloudy morning at the Cape today. We are launching a sounding rocket version of our orbital launch vehicle, the Blue Sky 2A. This has an A4 engine in the first stage. It has an AJ-10 37 as its second stage. And then it has an XASR-1, which is an Aerobee sounding rocket sustainer, as the kick stage inside the fairing at the top. This is launched without attitude control, without guidance, as a way to flight verify our various engines. So, without further ado, range, are we clear?
Yes, we are clear.
Okay. Booster?
Boosters go.
Okay. Light at 2 seconds, T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, main engine start,
Ignition.
0, and liftoff. And liftoff. So far we have a good light on the A4 engine. Starting to spin up to hold our attitude. The main stage's fins are slightly canted. As we look out to sea. Get that beautiful sun gleaming on the water. We're well above the clouds now. Looking down, you can see still some of the lights from the cities.
Stage 1 propulsion is normal.
Good. Yeah, I think we're about at max Q. Picking up a bit of a drift, but that should be okay.
Miko.
Good separation, and good light on the AJ-10. Now this stage has a boat tail with some fins to keep it aerodynamically stabilized, and it had some ullage motors in the boat tail structure, which once we pass 70 kilometers, we will detach to lower our stage dry mass. And there we are. We've detached successfully. You can see the attitude jets around the base of that stage. Given that we do not have any guidance on this sounding rocket version of the launch vehicle, they won't be doing anything. We've passed the Kármán line and separated fairings. You can now see the small sounding rocket telemetry payload and the XASR-1 engine powering that kick stage. Okay, we're well out into the low regions of space. You can see a very bright eastern seaboard below us, coast of Florida, down the Caribbean, and going up the coast of the eastern seaboard of the United States.
Stage 2 burn looks nominal. Approaching Seco.
Apogee 900 clicks. Apogee 1000 clicks.
Seco.
We're spinning up, decoupling and firing the kick stage. We have a good light on the kick stage.
Apogee 1200 clicks.
Okay, given how much delta V is on this kick stage, we should be going for a pretty high apogee.
Apogee 1500 clicks.
Burn telemetry remain nominal.
Apogee 2000 clicks.
Acceleration 6G.
Okay, we've passed our sounding rocket contract altitude requirement in terms of apogee.
G-force 8G. 9G.
Apogee 3000 clicks. 4000 clicks.
Cutoff.
Okay.
Speed about 6300 meters per second.
And what's our final apogee projected?
4491 kilometers.
Okay. So, assuming we had no failures that flight, that is a slightly lower apogee than we might perhaps like, given that it will leave some sounding contracts off limit to us. But it's nonetheless pretty darn good. And let's quickly down. You can see Florida far below us. And let's take a look at our trajectory. So there's our projected apogee. Ways up, and we have telemetry from White Sands, Goldstone with the Deep Space Network, Vandenberg launch site, and Guaymas. Then we have from Wallops, from the Cape itself, and from Bermuda. So we've got a little ways to wait until we reach apogee with this thing. What is our time to apogee? And now we've picked up telemetry from Centre Spatial Guyanais in Kourou. Okay, I'm getting a calculation of a bit under a bit under 10 minutes to apogee. Does that? Okay, we've passed the required altitude for the sounding rocket contract. Oops.
TT app reads as 11:20 seconds.
Interesting. That's a lot longer than I had naively calculated. But
It appears to be stable as well. Like
okay.
it is definitely decreasing at proper rate of 1 per second.
Yeah, and given that, yeah, 4 is almost double the radius, so inverse square. Yeah, okay. No, that does check out. All right, so given that, I think we've gotten most of what we want out of this. It basically is a booster development flight, so I think Rain should go ahead and kill it, and we can go ahead and launch the next one.
Pressing the abort button now.
And there we go. Now I'm just going to check the log to make sure we didn't have any failures. We did not. So we are good. So we're going to go ahead and get the next sounding rocket contract, which we can make. Go ahead and warp to this one. And we'll just do a quick check on data. We have next to no data on the XASR1, decent data on the AJ10. So sorry?
Is this the AWG again?
Yep. Yeah, we had 3 of these queued up for booster development.
Okay, so we're just repeatedly reflying. Great.
Yep.
All right, let me.
Because we need to build up the flight data.
Yeah. Okay, boosters go.
Range,
Ranges go.
telemetry, telemetry.
Some technical issues. Anyway, I'm go.
Okay. Right, sorry, trajectory, not telemetry. Okay, then we'll go in T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 main engine sequence start, 0, liftoff. And up we go.
Apogee 10 kilometers. Max Q. Or nearing max Q.
Roger. Max Q 65 kPAs.
That is quite high.
$50 kilometers apogee.
Picked up a bit of a westward tilt.
1000 meters per second velocity.
Altitude 30 clicks.
Apogee under 200 clicks now.
Approaching Nico. Second stage looks like a normal ignition. Third go.
Okay, that's induced a slight precession.
Range is nominal.
Fairings.
Speed 2000 meters per second.
Altitude 140.
Apogee 400 clicks. Apogee 600 clicks.
Seconds to Seeker.
Apogee 1000 clicks.
Seeker. Six stage ignition.
Getting quite high here. You can see Cuba off to the south, I believe. And there's Florida below us.
Apogee 2000 clicks. Speed 5000 meters per second.
G-force 8. 10 seconds to kick cutoff.
Plus 10, 11, 12.
We
Cut
have
off.
cutoff.
Cut off at 13 Gs.
Final apogee 4506 kilometers.
Okay, it's a bit better than last time.
Yeah, because I wasn't late dropping the skirt this time. And I don't have an exact TT app yet, which means it's greater than 1200.
Yep. Expected. It should come down to about 1100 once we hit 5 kilometers per second vertical, going by last time. past 1,000 kilometers. Okay, so we need to pass about 3,000 kilometers for the sounding rocket contract. Which means if my calculations are about right, it should be about 4 minutes. No, I'm sorry. That's wrong. My calculations are not correct. Yeah, we're still above 5.5 kilometers per second. That's 1,750 kilometers. Yeah. All right, so closer to 6 minutes to ride it out. So meanwhile, we can talk a little bit about what those engines were used for in real life. In real life, the A4 engine you know well as the engine on the V2. It was a fairly powerful engine, but with a fairly short burn time, but mostly hampered in terms of performance by a very high structural fraction on its stage. It had almost a quarter of its final mass, a quarter of its wet mass was its dry mass or so, which was terribly high structural coefficient. And besides that, it needed about a ton of ballast in the nose in order to be aerodynamically stable. So in real life, even when it was used as a sounding rocket, they had to ballast the nose and therefore have a lower apogee than they otherwise might. The AJ-10 that you saw in the second stage of this was an engine that was in some ways derived from these tiny little sounding rocket sustainer engines, but was not merely a scaled up. It was in some ways a redesign. But it powered the second stage on the US Vanguard launch vehicle. Then it went on, that second stage and its solid motor went on to serve on Thor Able, and then Thor Delta, and then Delta. And in varied forms, the AJ-10 was the surface propulsion system on Apollo. It was the orbital maneuvering engine on the space shuttle, and it very possibly will have a use with Orion. This model of the AJ-10 was the first AJ-10 upper stage used. It was model number 37. It was not terrifically reliable. A number of the Vanguard failures were in fact second stage failures. But nonetheless, it proved a very versatile design, and once redesigned and more tested for quality, it served very well in Able and Delta. The upper stage engine, the XASR-1, was a derivative of that first WAC Corporal sustainer engine. It powered the Navy's Aerobes, that's why it has a Navy designation. And the way we're using it currently is as a kick motor, which leads to what we've designed essentially is something sort of similar to Vanguard, where there's a large first stage booster and then a second stage from an AJ-10, and then the third stage is a kick stage. Now, in real life, generally the US would use solid motors for kick stages because you don't have to worry about ullage. They don't burn very long. They're much more reliable to ignite than a liquid fuel engine. The downside, of course, is that it has rather lower performance than a liquid propellant engine in most cases, both because of a higher structural fraction, lower propellant mass fraction, and also because it's generally going to have a lower specific impulse than a liquid engine. So in this case, we went with this liquid engine for our kick stage. And you can see, given that we're basically lofting a 60 kilogram payload, we don't have near enough delta V for orbit even without having avionics on the other stages. Our actual launch vehicle is dependent on waiting for early avionics to unlock, when we will finally have some genuinely light payload, a 10 kilogram payload that we can launch. Although we've weighted down a little bit with some scientific instruments and antennas. And once we do that, and we can also unlock avionics for the other stages, we will have a light enough and payload and a light enough avionics that will be able to have a guided descent to orbit that nonetheless retains enough delta V to actually put payload in orbit. we're liable to go with about 2,000 kilometer by 300 kilometer orbit. It's going to depend exactly where the kick stage ends up putting us. We obviously don't have much control over it other than orienting and firing. But we think we're likely to be able to get something like that. So we've now passed 2,500 kilometers. We're still rising at just under 4,000 meters per second. You can see that the Earth is now rather far below us. We are, in fact, if we zoom out, you can see that we're a decent fraction of the Earth's radius. In fact, we're closing in on a bit under half the Earth's radius in altitude above the surface. Electric charge is passing 60%. It's going to be a long ride up to the 4,400, 4,500 kilometer apogee that's projected for this, although once we pass our target altitude, again, we're going to have range safety below the craft. So that's in another 200 kilometers or so. And indeed, far below us, you can see pretty much the entire continental United States, Mexico and Central America. Down there you can see South America. And it looks like Africa is just over the horizon from us. We can't quite make it out. Okay, we've passed 3,000 kilometers, so I think it's time for range to detonate the craft.
Terminating vessel.
And there we are, another successful booster development mission. So we have one more of these, and then we're going to take a break before we attempt our orbital launches. Let's pick another sounding rocket contract. That is something that we technically can achieve. However, it would take, as we pointed out, something like 20 minutes to ride up to apogee, which we probably should not be attempting at the moment. So let's go ahead and pick another one of these medium contracts. And go ahead and roll this one out.
How's our data on the engines?
Let me check. Okay, so we have about 1,300 data on the XASR-1 and 3,805 on the AJ-10. We're still not even at max data on the A4, and we're less than a quarter data on the solid fuel ullage motors. So, with that, let's get one more flight of data. Should probably make things reliable enough that we'll be okay to try for orbit. So, range, are we clear?
Range is go.
Okay, trajectory ready?
Trajectory is go.
Booster?
Hold on just a moment.
Okay, we're holding.
Almost got the Jason. almost got the JSON ready.
Okay.
Just need to check the final mass is good. G920. No, that doesn't match. What happened there? Hmm. G130. Yep, that matches. That's okay. Boosters go.
Okay, we're starting the countdown. T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Engine start.
Ignition.
0, and lift off. Starting our spin. Okay, let me verify that we're getting good data, which we are. Passing the cloud layer. It's a bit of a cloudy day at the Cape today.
Stage 1 propulsion looks nominal. Max Q 65 kPa.
Looks like we have a rotation roll rate about 300 degrees per second.
1000 meters per second speed.
Again, we're deviating
100
west.
kilometers
seconds to Nico.
speed.
5 seconds. Miko.
Staging looks successful. There goes the booster far below us.
Works out.
Yeah, we've definitely picked up a tilt compared to the last couple launches.
Fairings. Stage 2 propulsion nominal.
So far, so good.
Apogee 400 clicks.
Okay, so no matter what happens, we'll have defeated our sounding rocket contract. Even if we get an upper stage failure. You can see the Gulf of Mexico. Texas on the far edge.
Twenty seconds to Seco.
Looking good.
Speed 3000 meters per second.
Five seconds.
Apogee 1000 clicks.
Seek out.
Good light.
Click stage. Normal ignition. Downrange distance 45 clicks. Pitch angle looks like 85 degrees, so 5 degrees off vertical.
Apogee 2000 clicks.
20 seconds.
Speed 5000 meters per second. Apogee 3000 clicks. Speed 6000 meters per second.
We've had shutdown.
Final apogee 4453 kilometers.
Okay. That sounds like a good success. I'm liking our odds for the orbital launches. Okay, we're high enough that we've definitely completed that contract, passing 800 kilometers. So, range, if you would do the honors.
Terminating vessel.
And there we are. Okay. So, with those 3 successful launches, I think we're go for building our orbital launch vehicles. So with that, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you to the flight crew. And we'll see you all again quite soon. In about, what is that, 20 minutes? It's 8 p.m. EDT, which is midnight UTC, which is going to be in about 2 hours and 20 minutes. So, once again, thanks everybody, and we'll see you soon.